About 5 years ago, I was having bourbon with friends, and it led to a conversation around what I would be doing on the back nine of my career. And interestingly, 2 weeks later, I got an email that said, "Ever thought of doing your own thing?"
Hi everyone, welcome to Inside SprayNet, where we feature the team behind the magic. I'm Carmelo Marsala, founder and CEO of SprayNet. I started this company back in 2010, and shortly after, we began formulating our proprietary coins. Over the years, we've secured 4 patents on our processes and chemistry and built an incredible network of franchisees all across North America. But enough about me. This podcast isn't about my story, it's about theirs. And today, my very special guest is Mr. Dale from Madison, Wisconsin. Welcome, Dale.
Hola, how are we doing?
Good. Dale, audience doesn't know you. Tell us how you got here, who Dale is, where you're from, a little background about who you are.
Awesome. Dale Tomalin, as Carmelo mentioned, I am based here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm the heart of the Midwest, as we like to say, cheese land, as you can see from my Packer helmet in the back. So I started my journey nearly 4.5 years ago. I spent most of my career in corporate America, helping businesses build brands, working for an insurance company. Had a lot of fun, a great career. But had an itch to do something different. And about 5 years ago, I was having bourbon with friends, and it led to a conversation around what I would be doing on the back nine of my career. And it just led to some introspective thinking. And interestingly, 2 weeks later, I got an unsolicited email from a former partner who was a franchise broker and had that email subject line that said, "Ever thought of doing your own thing?" And so it enabled a bug that I couldn't get rid of owning and building my own business. And was comparing a lot of different options, SprayNet being one of them, and it just struck a chord with me. And the chord was transforming things. I had painted traditionally through college.
We joke sometimes running and owning a business is living the dream. You have this itch. Talk to us a bit about the ups and downs, right? It's not always glamorous, but sounds like it's been rewarding.
Yeah, it's definitely been rewarding. And a journey is a great way to think about it, because I think there is a slide that you actually presented during either one of the conversations that we had prior to me joining. And it's just this roller coaster. And you look at the graph of going up and down at the time, you look at it, you think, no, mine's going to be a straight line up. But a franchise journey and a business owning journey is a lot of ups and downs. And I think about a learning that is really one that has been profound for me is being able to manage through those ups and downs, because there's really great highs and then there's some really deep lows, and you got to be prepared for it. But the highs are really great when you are able to work with a client and you see their face when you're done with the transformation. It really fills your soul and fills the soul of your team.
We're skipping a little ahead, but actually tell us about one of those moments that was rewarding in terms of customer reaction, your team. Speak more of that.
One of our earliest projects where, we'll be honest, we looked at this project, it was an exterior transformation, and we were touching every surface, meaning every side of the house except for the roof, which we can do now, and we'll probably go back and cross-sell it. Soffits, fascia, gutter, siding, 2 different types of siding. What was rewarding about that was the visual transformation of that home when we were done. The client, while it took about 7 days, when the client came out and looked at it, her comment was, "I cannot believe this is my house." You look at it and you think, this is why I started the business. This is why we do what we do, to have clients react like that. But I'll tell you, on the opposite side, this was one of the hardest projects we ever did from just a physical demand of the team. And it was super fun for them to see that reaction of the client. And so it fulfilled them. Yes, they're earning a paycheck, but they're also seeing the end result of it, of what the client got to see and experience.
It's funny, actually, that came up a lot on this podcast, is our team loves having that reaction from the customer every day. That's what keeps them going. It fuels their own dopamine too, right?
100%. And that's, I think, too, one of the things that is super important when you're building your business is to get the right team. So I think one of the lessons that I had, and I have some scars from it, is finding the right team. We've been fortunate to have a team that is like a family, and they're my family. And when you build a business, you have to approach it like that. Now, there's a line you have to be sure that you don't cross, right? Because you have to make financial decisions that are important for you and the business. But when you have a culture and a team that embodies family, you can do amazing things. But you have to find them, and that's hard. It's really hard. It took almost 2 years of really being inefficient and lots of do-overs but you find the right people, and then the magic, as they say, happens.
I remember when I was first starting in business, I kept dreaming about the team I'm going to have and how we're going to execute. What inspired you to join SprayNet in general or business? Like, what specifically made you pull the trigger on this one?
So I'll go back to painting that I did through college. And then I kind of joke, but it's not a joke. I painted almost every part of my home. And while that's traditional painting, what I love about that process is transforming and making things better. And what is so cool about our business is that we're saving stuff. And I say that a lot to both potential clients and partners and potential franchisees. We're savers. We're siding savers, we're roof savers, and we're cabinet savers. And we're making things look amazing. And that's why I joined. When I did the research on the product and saw and talked to existing franchisees and business owners, and they told me that the product is stellar and can't be beat, it sold me right there. It's like a no-brainer.
I love that. That's part of our mission, right? So offer recognition to maximize value for everyone. What's been the most surprising or rewarding part so far in all of this?
I mean, the client satisfaction, like two things I would think of. Client satisfaction, I think whether or not the painting's easy, it's dealing with the people that's the hardest part, because you're dealing with a consumer who is one of their most prized possessions is their home. It's their kitchen and it's their outside. And so you have to be ready for what comes with that and respect that. And that's our team does that. As we walk into someone's home, we respect their home and treat it as if ours. I think one of the hardest parts of this business, but yet the most rewarding, is dealing with all the emotions that can come along with it, like little things that we know that we can fix. A client may jump out at that and focus on it. And you have to just be ready to deal and process that through.
If people are like, oh, you're different, I roll, everybody says they're different. What do you tell customers that are skeptical? You saw it, you believed it. How do you get people to cross that line that are skeptical?
Two things. One is showing them the product. So making sure that you have the samples, whether that's from the cabinet side or a sample piece of siding or sample boards, is seeing is believing. Look at it. But I think the second part, and I think that's what's made us fairly successful on introducing the product to this market, is don't take my word for it. Talk to clients and look at the Google reviews, because they speak for themselves. And then the third item is go look at the projects that we've done. That's where you're going to be able to see it. And then certainly we have the support and the testing to back it up, but don't take my word for it.
Dale, can you think of a moment that made you say, because you spoke about the ups, spoke about the downs, can you think of a moment that made you say, this is why I do this?
We talked about the ups and downs, and I think that's one item I'll talk about. Me personally, I'm very process driven, and the part that I had to get ready for in this business was being prepared for the unknown and being prepared for something is going to happen today, and I have to be ready for it. Where in my corporate life, it was at point A to point B, I go through my task and I get there and I check off my item that needs to get done. That doesn't happen when you're building a business. That something is going to happen today that I wasn't prepared for. It's not on my list of 15 things that I still have. Let me be clear. But what took me a while was sitting in my truck, and it was not being able to answer the problem that I had. And it was a low point, I'll admit, where I sat in that truck and didn't understand and know where or what I needed to do. But I called my production manager and said, here's my problem. How can you help? And he helped solve that for me. And then the second item was that I think about, so you talk about what is most satisfying part of something or along the journey is being able to handle those things in the future. So a lot of it comes with learning. A lot of it comes with understanding the business, being in the business, executing, but then being able to have some of those curveballs come now. I got it. Like I'm ready for the day. And I come in with a mindset that things will happen, but I'm ready for it and bring it on. And I think that was a moment of reflection for me that makes it satisfying for me as a person, me as a business, and then me as a leader in my team.
No, that great answer. That makes a ton of sense. And people think of franchising sometimes and think of this big organization, but at the end of the day, you are a local business owner with the backing of a large organization, but that doesn't just mean the franchisor. It also means your peers, your franchisees, the 70 people doing the same thing as you, but not competing against you. Talk a bit about that and how that's helped you deliver a better experience to your customers, or how you contributed to that, vice versa.
Yeah. So, that is a tremendous asset when you're building a business to build it within the franchise system. And that's a point that I did not take full advantage of when I first started that. I think you're a little bit, I don't know if the word is hard-headed, but I'm going to do this and I've got the framework and I can get this done. But when you step back and know that you've got 70 plus people that are around you that have a lot more knowledge than you, and you can tap into them, and literally all of them will take your phone call in a heartbeat to help you, it's amazing. And I tapped into that. And once I did that, as I talked about, it helped me soothe out those highs and lows because I got this and I got a team behind me. I'm the front of the team, but I got 70 plus people behind me that are my teammates as well that will go out on a limb and help me regardless. And that's the beauty of it too, is that I love paying it forward. I love helping other franchisees because I don't want them to go through the hard learnings that I had. I want them to get there faster. So how can I help you get there faster? And that's the beauty of the franchise system.
We just did a franchise business review survey. I'm sure you filled it out. And we actually scored really high on active community engagement, franchisees helping each other. And I thought that's every franchise. But when we look at our score versus the average of home services, we just obliterated it. And I think that's a testament to the people that we bring in, like you, that pay it forward, but also the community and the values that we share. It's just amazing to see. I'm glad this helped you in your business.
For sure. Yeah, I have a lot of admiration for the people that build businesses. But I think when they do it without the infrastructure in the franchise system, I marvel at that because we have a treasure. We have an asset that is second to none.
Like cliche, but we're better together. As a customer of a franchisee, you've got the best of both worlds, local business owner, but also this backing of a larger organization.
Sure.
So yeah. Tell us about a recent job that made a real impact on your team, on maybe a customer, on yourself recently.
The good, the bad, the ugly. I think there was one that we finished a few weeks ago that was a cabinet transformation where we knew coming in that the client was a very particular client. And I talked to that a little bit earlier, that this is their most prized possession and we have to understand and respect that. But we also had to be prepared to deliver the finish and the efficiency and the product that the client would be pleased with. And when you do that and you deliver it, and then there's disappointment in the client for things that are very detail oriented, and the client in my book is mostly never wrong, wink, and they typically are right. But there's a point to where you have to draw the line of what's reasonable and what's not reasonable. And in this instance, the request wasn't reasonable because it was something that we fundamentally do not do. And so the learning for me, the profound effect for us was talking them through of why this was not the professional way to refinish cabinets that we do not endorse, and having that conversation. And the team was right there with me to be able to show and demonstrate to them and take them from a disappointed customer to, at the end, a very happy customer when they understood it and were pleased with the end result.
When you turn that quote unquote particular customer into a raving fan, that's the best, most rewarding part of the job, isn't it?
Flat out. That is the most fulfilling part, is having clients that are pleased with what you told them they would be getting, having them see what they'll be getting, and then the end result of the value that we deliver. We're thrilled and kind of have to pinch yourself every day that we do this for a living and get paid for
it. Client reaction comes up so much on this podcast because I think it stems from the fact that it sounds too good to be true. So there's there's a little bit of skepticism, and then when you see it, you believe it. What's the biggest misconception people have about spraying it, and how do you help overcome that?
That speed means a gap in quality. I think that's the one item that we sell efficiency, and that we can literally make this transformation happen in days. They believe that some corner is being cut. I think one of the items that I totally loved that happened earlier at a home show when we were talking to a potential client and talking about our process, and there happened to be a competitor that was delivering a similar product. And we're talking about our process, and we were talking about our average kitchen is typically done in 2. And she wouldn't let me finish. She said 2 weeks. And my comment was, no, that's 2 days. And she said, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. Where do you cut corners? I'm like, we don't cut corners. Here's why. And I said, why didn't you say 2 weeks? And her comment was, I just came from another cabinet refinisher and their process takes 4 weeks. And I said, no, we're 2 days. And I think the other misconception on that is that you can't deliver a beautiful finish in 2 days. And it's so fun to talk to them behind the science of, yes, we can. And here's why. We are a factory. We are a factory line. And here's what we do every single day.
Actually, that's good. Let's unpack that a little bit, because Most people don't believe it. And I always tell people, if you specialized equipment with our proprietary process and our proprietary chemistry, that's what we can do what we do. Tell me a bit more about how you explain it in your own words.
Yeah, so I think, what I love, and we'll just take the cabinet process for the purpose of this example, is I talk about the fact that we come in and it's about 53 steps that we take your kitchen through. And again, it's always starting with, again, this is your kitchen, but it becomes our kitchen for those 2 days that we are on site. And then we give it back to you when it meets our standards. And then I just talk about that we start up and it's a very organized process. It's a checklist driven. We map the kitchen and we take it through every single step with the team members sign off on each step. And it starts with the cleaning, which is instrumental. It goes to preparation, it gets to the adhesion, and then it gets to the primer that needs to get done, and then the painting process that occurs after that. All with proprietary products that take minutes to dry and then also allow us to get done very quickly.
So basically, everything that we do is engineered from the chemistry to the process to deliver this exceptional quality in a fraction of the cost, time, and mess. And that's exactly what we do. All right, let's start wrapping this up here. If someone's on the fence about booking with SprayNet, what would you tell them?
Oh, I would first tell them to compare our product and process to a competitive set. I always tell prospective clients that you need to do your research. But as you do your research, here are the three things to check. One, what is the focus and what is the expertise of this contractor? Number two, check out their reviews and check out who has experienced their service. Three, do your research on the product that will be applied by the contractor. And here's why we differ. We have a 15-year no-peel warranty. We have chemistry that allows our product to adhere to your kitchen, to your siding, to your substrate. It is going to last. It's been engineered to last. And lastly, that premium service and that premium product comes at a price. And what do you want to pay? Do you want price and quality, or do you want the cheapest product? Want to sign today?
Love it. And the ask. Yeah, so custom chemistry for smarter painting. And I think also the misconception is we're not even that much more expensive. Yeah, we're more expensive, but we're not that much more.
Yeah, and I don't like to go to that cost, but I know that I also don't hide from it. And I also shift the paradigm that I'm competing with you against replacing your cabinets. We don't really compete with other traditional truck in a truck painting companies. We're competing against replacing. And when you think about replacing with the brand new cabinets, that's where I compete. And I'm about a third of the cost of that. Which makes more sense to you, replacing your cabinets or having brand new, like new cabinets done in 2 days or less?
The convenience and affordability of painting with the finish and durability of replacement, the best of both worlds. That's bring that way.
Yep, right in the middle there.
Cool. Last question. What advice would you give to someone thinking about starting a business? You had your bourbon, you were thinking about it, you had an old process. What advice would you give someone looking back?
Reflect deeply on the commitment that it will take by you as an individual. And you cannot underestimate the demands that it will take on you. It's a challenge, but it's an awesome challenge. You have to make sure that you're committed to that. And if you're committed to that, then this is the journey that you need to take, because the success, the wins, the lows, all make it an amazing company to be involved in.
Oh, that makes sense, right? It's like there's an initial grind of it. Because I think common misconception people have is I could buy a business, start working on it right away. You need to work in it, build it before you can start working on it, right? There's a path to get there.
Yeah, 100%. You cannot shortcut that. You need to work in the business before you can work on the business. And that is for two reasons. One is you have to understand the product and commitments that you're making to a client. You have to understand the process that goes through it. And I use this example of my close rate went from, I think it was in the low 20s before I actually did the work. And then once you can paint the picture and paint the story and sell the story, it becomes so much believable. And it's not that you're not selling the truth, you're selling what you're delivering. And you have to get your hands dirty to understand it, to then lead your teams, to make your teams more efficient, to show them the expertise and the quality that you as a business owner demand.
Yeah, it instills the confidence you need to scale your business, right? You need that foundation. Love it. Cool. Absolutely. Thank you, Dale. It was fun chatting.
Love it. Thank you so much.